an Alfonso. I'm in trouble, guys. I'm in big trouble. First aid. Well, heal August, but he's going to die anyway. Some waste. We're not even making a dent on these guys. Okay. Right, you need to. Oh, come off it. This is crazy. I can't even get a shot. Nah. Okay, I can kill him. But I can't kill him. And he's then going to kill me. Yep. Welcome to the channel and this Seadog challenge for Nantucket. Now Nantucket was released on the 18th of January 2018 if you're watching this in the future, and it's created by a company called Picaresque Studios. It's actually a simulation game based around the golden age of whaling, which ran from about 1820 to about 1850, and it's a combination of a kind of open sandbox game, but it's got a main quest running through it, which picks up after the end of Herman Melville's book Moby Dick. In fact, the main quest is based on the player is the sole survivor of the Pequod, and then he goes to Nantucket and he effectively becomes the captain of a new whaler to go out and hunt Moby Dick. That's the main quest that runs through the game. But around it all there is a number of sub-quests, and of course you've got the whaling in mixed in as well. And just to give you an idea, guys, the Seadog challenge is effectively a permadeath option. So when the captain dies, the game is over. And as you saw in the introduction to this video, dying is very easy in this game. And it's become a little bit of a frustration for me, I suppose is the best way to describe it, because I want to complete this. And this is going to be my 4th attempt at it by recording. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the rules slightly from my original attempts. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to play the series through, and I'm going to put it on the channel, guys. And if I die, what I will do then is I will play the series through again off camera till I get to the point where I died, and then I will then pick up the storyline there. So rather than keep going back to the start and you guys seeing the same pieces over and over and over again, it's going to be eventually me completing, because this is what I really want to do, is complete the Seadog challenge. It's really got under my skin in big time, and I want to do it. But it's just the way I can present this actually on the channel. I mean, if I'm really lucky and we do it in one hit, that would be fantastic, guys. But I can guarantee you this the randomness of the combat system can just blow your mind away. Plus, it's very addictive. And I think that's probably a long enough introduction to the series. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go in as a new game now. As you can see, you get a character creation. You get to name your character. So I'm just going to be Silverbeard. I mean, it's not exactly the name of a whaling captain. It's probably more of a pirate captain, but there are pirates in this game. And what you get is you get the 4 base skills. You get hunters. These are the guys who actually do the hunting. You've got sailors who are experts in moving the ship around. You've got some scientists who are effectively healers and do other kind of key tasks. And you've got your craftsmen who actually maintain the ship. And as a captain, you've got to choose which skill you want to start with. And the reason I'm choosing hunting is that the initial starting crews are quite weak. So in some ways, you've got to lead from the front to be able to make progress in the main campaign. And what you do is you get to choose a trait. And what you've got here is you've got the smart trait, which means you get to spend 1 more point to choose another skill. You've got the strong, which means you cause more damage against sea creatures. You've got the navigation plus 50% hit points, but that's not particularly important. Then you've got the healthy trait, which is the one I'm going to take, and you've got open-minded, which is 1 XP gained per day of navigation. The reason I'm going for healthy is purely because of the nature of the Seadog challenge, in the sense that you need to get as many hit points, because there's some really nasty strikes when you get to the higher level. You can get attacked and you can lose 30-40 hit points in a single strike. So you need to get your hit points as high as possible. And so that's what we're actually going to do. Now down here you click the tutorial. If you don't click Seadog, you actually just get a normal campaign. You've got all the normal save games, but I'm going to be playing Seadog. That means, it's just to show you here guys, it says here you can save only by quitting the game. The mode features that are permadeath. Your save is deleted when your character dies. You can get achievements only through this mode. So if you want the Steam achievements, you've got to play Seadog. And that's what we're going to be playing, guys. So I think all we can do now, guys, is just get straight into the game. We've got a nice starting sequence, which will let you watch.
Drink ye, harpooners, drink and swear, ye men that man the deathful whale boat's bow. Death to Moby Dick. God hunt us all if we do not hunt Moby Dick to his death.
Cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm. I was cursed twice by the Lord for my blasphemous promise to hunt Moby Dick, and by Ahab for surviving the Pequod and its sons swallowed by the sea. I was craving to conquer my spot in heaven by striking my iron in Moby Dick's heart. So I headed back to Nantucket, looking for a new ship and wealth-seeking sailors.
So here we are, guys. The game starts in this port screen. You're going to be very familiar with this as it goes on, because this are 4 components, and we do start in Nantucket in the 1st of January 1820. Now Nantucket today is, I think, actually a tourist area. It's an island off the coast of Massachusetts. Well, it's actually part of Massachusetts as far as I know, and probably to look at it today you'd probably think, well, why is this such a well-known port associated with whaling in the 1820s? Well, it was actually comparable with London and New York for influence, because during the golden age of whaling, 80% of the world's whaling fleet was American, and the vast majority of those ships' home base was Nantucket, although eventually when the harbour of Nantucket silted up, the ships moved over to New Bedford, which is actually on the mainland of Massachusetts. So for a very brief period in history, between about 1820 I think to about 1860, probably up to about 1890, Nantucket was an incredibly wealthy place. And more importantly, and again, I know a lot of people are opposed to the idea of whaling, and I support that today, because there's absolutely no point in whaling today. I mean, they're great creatures and they should be respected. But in the 1820s, you've got to remember, is the petroleum industry didn't really arrive until about 1880, and it wasn't really a big commercial enterprise until the 1900s. So it was the whale oil, especially the spermati from the head of a sperm whale, that actually drove the Industrial Revolution. It lubricated the gears and everything that ran. So whaling is an integral part of the Industrial Revolution, and I think a lot of people don't really follow that. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on too long, guys. We're just going to get down to the main screen. As it says, it's 4 parts. We're going to go round it in anti-clockwise direction, and we're going to start at the top here. We start with a sloop called the Melville. Later on, when we buy ships over here, we can change the name, but when we start, we're stuck with that. We start with $1,000, and what we need to do is research the ship technologies across here in order to get up and build these ships, because it's not just about making money. In fact, making money isn't the problem. The real problem is actually unlocking these technologies to actually build up to the ship. And you see the ones with crosses, where it's got this cross down here, you've got to have a member of the crew with that skill in order to be able to research that trait there. So it can be quite important to get things up and running. And the way you do the research, you can research in port. So we can research here. And I think what we're going to do straight away, I think we're going to go for hammocks. So we're going to unlock hammocks, or should we go sailing first? I can never make up my mind, to be honest. I think we'll go to hammocks, because unlocking hammocks, if you say here, it says research hammocks technology started, will take 90 days. Come back, help finalise the word. So don't show that. And what you'll see is that by having upgraded hammocks, you restore 2 hit points per day, and that's very important, because your crew is going to take injuries in whaling. Whaling was incredibly dangerous at the time, and it's incredibly dangerous in this game. Now, as I say, the way the research goes is you research in this port, and to claim it, you've got to return to the port. And in the game, there's 3 ports where research can be done, and that is Nantucket, Peterhead, and Honolulu, or as it used to be known in this period of time, I think it was known as the Sandwich Isles. So we've now set the research up, and the next thing we need to do is get a crew. And if I show you the crew, we've only got, the way crews recruited is based on prestige points. We've only got 4 prestige points, and you can see here this guy's 10. And what I'm looking for is, I mean, I'm going to be the hunter because I've got this skill here. What I'm looking for is actually a physician with a reasonable trait, funny trait, Clifford. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to hire him. These guys keep your crew alive. They're very, very important. But it means I've only got 1 point left now to recruit somebody else. And what I'm looking for is, we can't recruit him. Nobody else has got any real skills. You've got none. So what we're looking for is somebody that's got potential. He hasn't. I mean, you've got to be fairly flexible here. Wow, he's good. Gourmet. And he's sociable. That because you need to keep the morale of your crew up. I think we're going to recruit Eddie. That now takes up all my prestige points. But what you can do is recruit a cabin boy. He's got no specific skills whatsoever. But they are free. And what I'm looking for is somebody. Oh, he's got a good trait, musician. And what we got here? Orphan trait, like, yeah, that's a waste of time. Morale, I actually like this actually. Bert, we'll just have a quick trait. He's got +1 working attitude. I think we're gonna go with Bert. The problem with the cabin boys, they don't tend to live very long. That's the downside. So we go. So you start with a very basic crew. Now, working round the clock, guys, we now get the Sailor's Post. It says George IV is now King of England, United Kingdom, Britain and Ireland. Russian sloop Vostok claims to have sighted the ice sheets of Terra Australis. Portuguese forces defeat Uruguayan independence there. And this is where you get your jobs. And some are locked like this. So these are your sub-quests that basically teach you where the whaling areas are. And again, not every port's got those, but the main ports do. And of course what we need now is a merchant. And what we need to do is make sure, what I aim for is 100 days of food. Maybe that's a bit too much for supplies, because one of the key ways you can actually die in this game is actually by running out of supplies. And again, if you run out of supplies, you starve to death, and the captain dies, and then the game is over. So we're going to leave port now. We're going to sail out onto the ocean, into the North Atlantic from Nantucket. And once it's loaded, so here we are, guys. We are on the map now. Across the top here, you've got overlays. Mine are switched on, but if you switch them off, which would be the default game, you need to have the wind. This is the wind direction, if it says here. And what you've got down here is a compass that shows you where the wind is. You also get messages up here that tells you how your wind is going. So to move around the map, it's very important to follow the wind. You've also got this, which is the whaling area overlay. I need to make sure that's enabled. So we need to make sure that, because when we find a whaling area, we want to be able to see it. And of course what you've got here is the quests. So this is our minor quest. The side quests come up as well. These are like extended multi-point quests that take you to special artifacts. And of course this is the main quest, the Moby Dick quest, but we can't break out of it until we get prestige 25, which is quite good because otherwise you're going to get killed. Over here we've got the captain's profile. So this is the personal profile. You can see here we get 3 strikes. This is the die sides, and you can see we get basically a 50% chance of getting a strike on a whale. And at the moment we've only got level 1 hunting, I think. And what we've also got is this medallion here, which actually gives us extra morale for the crew. On this side we've actually got a profile of the ship, and you can see here we've got a very basic crew at the moment, and I think what I want to do is put him there so we got a bit more extra sailing speed. And well, I think we'll go, and what I'm going to do is what we're going to do first, and to move around the screen, what you actually do is you right click to go here. If you hold down the shift key, you actually can set waypoints, which are quite important. What I suggest you do is you play the game on ×3, and across here you get notifications here, which is side quests. And you can see here we've immediately now says, there she blows, she yells the sports the fins, it can be precious well, lower the whaleboats and leave the hunt. So the other option below it is an auto resolve. I don't recommend it, guys. I suggest you always fight the battles yourself. You certainly want Clifford in the boat because he can heal us, and I think we're going to have Eddie. No, I think we're going to put Bert in, because these initial quests or combat is quite straightforward as long as you can get the strike. And as you can see, this is a turn-based system. What I always do is I get them all on here. If they got, because everyone except the captain has a cabin boy skill, which is the lowest level, which means they're a basic harpooner. And all you do is you roll the turn, guys, and we got absolutely nothing. So poor old Clifford gets it in the neck straight away, and he's got this bleeding symbol. Now what you do need to do is pay attention to this up here. So I've been stunned, great. So we're off to the usual random runs, but so we're just going to continue, and they've missed again. Great. Right, I'm going to have to put Clifford back onto his health die. And then I say this is what makes the Seadog mode so frustrating. There we are. We've got the strike now, and we can just go in there. We kill the narwhal, and we got victory. And what you do is we take the blubber, we got a little bit of food, and we've now unlocked this whaling area here. And now what you need to do, guys, is if you look here, now Clifford is actually injured, so what we actually need to do is swap the captain back to here. You always need somebody in the hold. If you don't, your ship will rot, and you've always got to have somebody who's actually steering the ship. The other positions are optional. Now if you watch Clifford, I've put him in there, and what you can do, if you right click and drag, you can move the map. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to sail for 3 days. If you watch Clifford, he will heal up. What we're going to do is sail away again. You also, if you look at the sail away again, please. And you also see the level. Every member of the crew gains experience by sailing, including me as the captain. I'll show you that in a minute, guys. What we're going to do is hunt whales again. And like I said, this is a pass to say don't whale. This is the auto resolve. I don't recommend it. I suggest you always fight the battles yourself. And hopefully this one will be a bit better. And now once you've set your crew up, you can click here and actually do it. I think auto as a sign chooses the best option. So when you first start out, if you're not sure what you want, just go for that, guys. And we're just going to continue. I mean, this initial round can be a good way. It looks like Clifford didn't actually fully recover. Okay, but he's got a clumsy strike. That's good. So he's got an outright kill, and we got a bit more. So this is a good way to level your crew up. Clifford's still in the hold. I think what we're going to do now, you see here we've got a date for the time, and so what we're going to do is we're going to sail up to here, and open this area up. And just to show you guys, if you see here, see I'm slowly gaining points. So you slowly gain the points based on the distance covered. So what we're going to do is, and to unlock a potential whaling area, you've actually got to do, actually this just show you the auto design. So what they're actually doing, he's choosing the strongest candidate and putting Clifford there. But I'm going to withdraw that because I want to develop Bert as a member of the crew. And I say this initial area, all the narwhals tend to be low level, and what the way the game does is it actually escalates as your crew comes up. Now, as you can see, it says science dive size won't be enabled this command, so we might as well make him that way, although I was probably going to do it that way. And of course we got nothing, and I get a strike, and the bleeding damage compounds. So it says here, rainy dirty water, special abilities are disabled, and I think you need to be there. Now he's got an emergency kit, but we can kill the narwhal outright, so, and we got another victory. And I know some people, you see the reviews, people talk about the game being repetitive, which in some ways it is, and I need to go in there because I need to heal, and we're going to come back. But at the same time, once you get past the basic combat, guys, this game draws you in, and it can be incredibly frustrating. And of course you get the sea shanties now. These are presumed, I think, can't remember what they're called. I think the guys are called the Roaring Trowmen. So you get these sea shanties kick in. I roll. The only drawback, guys, is once you actually leave the screen, the sea shanty goes off. So you don't have to, it's not like they stall the game. So just going to go here, combat, and this time we got foggy bank. Crew member commands cannot target sea creatures commands. Basically what that's saying is that when you've got the high level ones, you can target that and get it removed. But we obviously we're very low level, so, but we've got another narwhal victory. Of course we don't have much of our cargo capability at the moment, so I'm just going to we're going to work our way back to Nantucket. We do need just to keep an eye on our food situation. We've got 175 days of food, 87 food, grog, 100 days there, 105 days. Yeah, we're doing okay here at the moment, guys. So we're just going to keep sailing. Oh, one of our crew's been washed overboard. Man reaches overboard and you tow the body back to safety. I've actually lost 2 crew members by that process. When you've only got a small boat, and life gets a bit desperate, especially if you're a long way away from shore, because you've got to be on the helm for the ship to move, and you've got no one looking after your hull. So we're just going to click there. It says crew members damage plus 20%. So, and we drew absolutely nothing, and poor old Clifford's got struck with a tusk. Okay. And I'm just going to roll again. He's got a clumsy strike. We'll give it to him there. I mean, he's got no bleeding damage, so we're now taking a little bit, and we've got bleeding damage on 2 of us, which is not good. Objects dice size won't enable commands. Okay, I think we'll be okay. Yeah. I mean, we could go for first aid, but we'll just kill the whale. Narwhal. Then I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm just gonna. Clifford needs to go in here. In fact, I think what we're going to do, guys, we've got a storm here. We need to keep away from. Yeah, we got the sailor. Storms can give you a problem, so you want to keep away from them. Don't go sailing through them unless you have to. So it says, tie a rope to men. So we're just going to dash back into port here, enter harbour. And what happens is, as soon as you enter the harbour, your blubber and oil, when you get Tri-Works, is actually paid off automatically, and we made 205. The cruise lay is the cruise percentage of the profits. That will increase dramatically as you go along, and of course to claim the mission you get the reward, And what you get is these other missions. It says Unveil Mary's Destiny. So we're just going to accept that, because that's a good way to actually gain stuff. And you can see here we need more supplies. So you've got to keep your cash up a bit, guys. That's probably a bit too high. But what you can see here, food you can actually sell. And this is where your real profit is in the game. Actually, let's go to 91. And we've got a bit of prestige now. So I could lay off Clifford. But we can't really... Wow, I'd love him, but I can't get him. Bert, I could get rid of Bert, but what would I replace him with? Do we have a level 4? No. And so we don't really have, so we're going to have to keep working with the crew that we've currently got. So we're going to sail away. And you can see here, the ship that's lost was sailing to Peterhead. And well, we can go to Peterhead anyway. To give you an overview of the map, guys, this is the map area. You can sail across. The 3 main ports is Honolulu, or 4 main ports is Honolulu, Nantucket, Horta, and Peterhead. Now, for some of you guys that may look at that and think, well, isn't that a bit odd? Why isn't it like London or something like that? This is because this represents the main ports of the whaling industry at the time. Well, Honolulu was a great centre for recruiting harpooners. We've also got Kororakakia down here in New Zealand. Forgot about that. This is a minor port. So you've got 3 minor ports. You've got Kororakakia, Isambuttu and Cape Town. These were more supply stations rather than recruitment centres. Honolulu was well renowned for harpooners and people like that. So was Horta. This is the Portuguese Azores. The young men of Horta were often signed on to whaling ships. Let's just do this. We'll just travel like that while we're talking. I think it's worth showing me. And this is one of the random quests that come up. While walking to your cabin, you notice one of the men surveying some papers. As you notice, you holds up some old maps. Captain, during our last stop, I won these old maps playing dice. You saw the location of hidden treasure that belonged to pirate buff Molly Sharp. We should claim it for ourselves, and what do you think? And what you do is journal updated. What we got here, this says, now we've found the wreck of the ship. So as you look out, spots the smoke plume in the distance coming from a burning ship. Approaching the ship, you look like one who's looking for one that fire rapidly. So we can board the ship and take a 50%, 40% chance of winning. And these, I mean, the one I always go for is prestige. And it means we've actually found the ship. Now before I do this, guys, I'm just going to show you this. And what we got is here, and if you click here, so Eddie's personal quest is right down there. And again, this is a random event, which we're going to hunt the whales. So it's a totally random event, and can be quite annoying actually, because sometimes it's really close, other times it's a long way away. So we're going to go here, kill all the enemies present in the combat area. Yes, last used to get the crew there. We'll give Clifford a chance. Again, we're against tiny things. It's a rainy day, clear waters, so there's no restrictions. If we get a spin, yes, and we get the kill. And we've got that there. Leftover loot, cancel. Oh, I didn't pick all the loot up. God, that's a mistake, guys. What's the point of killing the whale? And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go to Horta, just to illustrate the point, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to sail here. We don't have that. Oops. We're going to lower the boats and go down sailing again. And just going to last used. We didn't take any damage, so I'm hoping Bert will level up so I can actually use him. So just going to do that. And we got absolutely nothing, so we're going to get a strike, but we're okay, guys. And we got bleeding damage. Eventually this physician will get something which will actually do it. Poor old Bert is stunned. I think what we will do is, oh, but he can now give me first aid. I know it's only 2 points, guys, but these things can sometimes hit you with something that can actually give you a problem. I mean, so sometimes you've got to think about the emergency kit. You apply it and it heals everyone in the boat. because eventually we'll have 3 boats. You go from 1 boat to 2 boats to 3 boats, and what happens is you end up fighting 3 creatures. Although with some of the more tougher battles, what actually happens is you get other creatures drop in when you kill them. So he's got the clumsy strike, that's good. And we got victory, and you can see because he laid the strike, he got the extra morale, which is really cool, guys. And I think what you can do is look at the prices here. So we've got here, this is 21. Obviously oil's worth more, but water's going to be worth more actually. And just to show you guys here, so this runs out on the 19th of March. So if we go back there, we should have enough time to sail here. Round Cape Horn with the mountain snow. Day gone around. Sorry guys, I do like sea shanties. Again, it comes back to what I said in the introduction. I was brought up around the sea. In many ways, so we didn't actually get that much in the way of supplies there. We could, well, we're going to stop off the way back, so we'll get okay. Well, the main reason I came here is to look at for crew. So we got a little bit of prestige now, and we could recruit anyone that's any good. Vincent, what I'm looking for, I mean, he'd be good, but we can't, because if I fire Bert, we lose 1 point, which is 7. So what you need to do is take the difference of these numbers and subtract 1. I don't actually see anybody here. I mean, the only thing I would go for is this, and I think I'm kind of tempted. Clifford doesn't, so I'm actually tempted to fire Clifford and bring him on, because he's got the bandages, which cancels the bleeding skill. So I think that's going to be really cool. You see this is dropped by 1. And what you can do is come in here and we can get a job. Discover a new whaling area, 48 days away. And we're going to sail away, guys. And I think we're going to work our way back to Nantucket, and that's where I'm going to call it for this part. And just to show you, we got this here. This is discover a new whaling area. See, the whaling area is right down here. It says 47 days, but remember, it's out and back. I think we'll be able to get in here. We'll do some whaling back to Nantucket, and of course we're a bit slower now, and you can see we're losing wind thing because we're actually sailing against the wind. So I'm just going to come in here, lower the boats, and now, and of course what we're going to put is Yale. Is that Yale? I can't remember how to pronounce that is. I know that's pronounced as a Y. I don't know what A. It's obviously Portuguese name. Anyway. And of course we're now up against 2 narwhals because we've got a better crew. And you can see we're going to have 2 tusk strikes. But the advantage we're going to get now is when I roll. And he's got first aid. Okay. Great. So we didn't get anything. I should have put him on combat anyway. What you will see is these will strike, but see where it says bleeding resistant? That makes the difference, because effectively, and I know some guys have reported in their reviews and said, oh, this makes the crew invulnerable to strikes, but it does in the early game. Great emergency kit. Still haven't got anything to do. It does in the early game, guys, but I can assure you there's all sorts of other attacks, and eventually narwhals, especially the adult narwhals, get very dangerous. They've got a skill called ambush, and I can assure you guys, if you get ambushed, you're going to get hit with a -45 attack. Right, so he's actually got a clumsy strike. He's doing all the work actually, and he's the scientist. Yeah, you get what's called a clumsy strike, and not a clumsy strike, an ambush. And if your crew is ambushed, guys, you will know all about it. And see, what we need is the extra dice rolls from the experience, but that comes with time, guys. So I'm just gonna so our scientists did all the work, which It's probably not the proper way to do things, but anyway. And I think we can... I mean, what you can do actually, guys, is... Well, we'll sail here and we'll hunt some more whales. So I'm going to work my way back, lower the boats, and here we go again. Last used, and of course this time we're actually going to put him on there. And again, we've got 2 newborn narwhals, and they're going to strike the same boat. So, and we got nothing in retaliation, but the bleed resistance is going to really work in our favour. See, we're not taking any damage whatsoever. But I can assure you that will change, and when you fight like the sperm whales and the blue whales, when they breach on you and the whole crew takes about 10 or 15 or even 20 hit points, this is why, as I said, as the captain, I need to really get the skill points up and running. So why didn't he get anything up? Random crew member stunned. Okay. Poor old Bert is stunned, and we still don't get a roll. We need the extra skill points, but I'll talk about those as they come along. So I think we're going to give Bert the strike. I don't think he actually gains experience. Everyone gets the same experience points, but he gets the morale, and morale's quite important, guys. Actually, right. And what you can do if you click on here. What you can do, you can just click hunt whales, so you don't have to actually move. So another creature encounter, and we didn't take any damage, so we didn't need to heal. Last one there, and I'll just put Bert on there. Combat. Now it's escalated. See, we're now against a single young narwhal, and crew members damaged plus 20%. So he can get a strike. Bert. Bleed resistance, okay. And I'm going to give him the honours on both of them. Victory. And just to show you guys, you can see the morale down here. Bert's got 12, Jal's got 15. Really need to get Eddie in the boat. Maybe we'll put Eddie in the boat this time, so just to give him a little bit of extra morale. This is why you've got to rotate your crews. And you can see down here our cabin boy's actually got an upgrade now. Working shoulder to shoulder with one of your men, you can appreciate his attitude so much unintentionally start feeling jealous. His ship's mates love him because he's always in a good mood. This is where you can gain extra traits for yourself, and what you can actually do is build a great big list across here, because you can get as many traits as you want. So we're going to lower the boat, and our cabin boy should have leveled up. And what we're going to do is take Bert out, and we're going to put Eddie in. Simply, you can see they've still got the basic cabin boy trait, but we'll be able to build his morale up. So sometimes you need to rotate your crews around, because you've always got the one crew member. I think we'll give him the strike, so he can get 1 kill in. And we've got windy crew damage minus 20, and Jal can, and he's actually got the strong trait. Wow. What's he doing here? You can see because both of these guys got killed a whale, they actually get an extra perk. And what we're going to do now, guys, is Bert, he needs to be promoted. We've got Eddie, who's the sailing thing. So what I want to do is, we've actually got, so we're now made Bert into a craftsman, and we should be able to develop his skills here. How much longer have we got here? Just check. It's very important that you keep an eye on your supplies. We've got 91 days. We're only about 10-15 days out. The button above here allows you to put your crew on half rations if you misjudge. I think what we're going to do, guys, is just, if you press here, what am I doing? The boat should just sit still. and you will just whale, lower the boats and leave the hunts. Okay. And we do last year's. If I take him out and we put Bert in, you see he's now got a trait. It says smooth rowing, so he's got a trait called smooth rowing. And what I'm not going to do is convert him, because what he actually does is he actually now can have a reroll. See if we can get a reroll. So I'm just going to go, and he got absolutely nothing. Ha! But it's very important to have a scientist in every boat. So, and poor old Jal's stunned, but his traits will still remain. I'm hoping that I can get his strong trait. That would be really, really good. So what he's got smooth rowing now. See, so just to demonstrate, guys, what you can do is do this, and it. Oh, it's not going to let me. Okay, why didn't that? Okay, we're just going to kill it. That should have given me a respin. Never mind. Oh, is it smooth rowing? I'm sure smooth rowing gives a respin. Oh, this game can become obsessive. And I've got the strike as well, so victory. I think we've got about enough space for one more hunt, guys, so just gonna do this. Australia, it was born. Eve away, away. Okay. Right. We've now passed March the 28th, so we've got to go back to port now because we've got nowhere else to whale. And just in time for the technology to be completed. So we've been away 90 days. And what you see here straight away, guys, standard hammock upgrades have been installed. New issue of the paper is available. Your crew injuries and illnesses have been had. Now Bert has an increase in lay because he's now becoming more of a valued crew. So he's actually gained stuff, and of course we now can get the reward for that. But we can't deliver any goods to Horta because we don't have the space. But what we might be able to do is if I... Well, we need some supplies here. And this is the problem with the boat. You see, we've got 308 days of food. So if we drop that down to 108, we come back to here. No, we still don't have all requirements are met. Let's just see how much space we've got. Nope. Can't see it. Don't know if we can actually see. No, we can only got a cargo, minimum barrels, maximum number of barrels. So we can't actually do that because the amount of crew. So what we need to do now, we've got 1,577 gold. Now that's tempted. You can look at this and think, well, all I've got to is make another 1,500. But if you buy a ship, guys, you want at least another $1,000 on top of the ship that you buy. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to increase the cargo space. Or maybe I should have done that first time out. Anyway, we're going to increase the cargo space for this ship. Now, the other thing also is all these techs are transferred over to your new ship whenever you do it. And just have a quick look at the crew. I mean, we've got loads and loads of prestige. We've got Bert here. We've got Eddie. I'm kind of, maybe we can replace Eddie with somebody if he's... No, we don't. I mean, Morris would be brilliant, but if we get that becomes 16, so the most we can recruit. I mean, this guy's got really good traits. I mean, if we could get him, it would be brilliant. But he's level 4. He's got evasive maneuvers, but he's got no other traits. But he's got a series of good traits here. He's funny, he's sociable, and he's got the gourmet trait. So he's actually good for morale, where this guy's got nothing. And you can see he's already given me the sociable trait. I think we're going to keep Eddie for the moment. And I think this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. In the next part, we will go out and start to try and find new whaling areas, because we're now in a kind of a little bit of a doldrums because we don't have... Actually, I'll just sail out just to show you guys. We can just sail out a little bit. In fact, what we'll do is we'll go to Horta, see if we can actually all... Yeah, we'll sail across to Horta, see if we can get a new mesh. Otherwise, we'll have to go to Peterhead. So, see, we've got no whaling areas here, and I don't want to go down to here just yet. That's a long way. When you first start out, you want to stay roughly in the North Atlantic. This doesn't open up until the 21st of June, so you can sponge around for a few days, because you can see this is April the 5th, so we've got 2 months, we've got 60 days to pass. And what we can do is actually spend that time to save him. Hopefully he won't drown. And we'll just get into here, enter the harbour. And we didn't get anything, but we may get another job. No, that one's active. But didn't mean to do that, guys. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you've enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. So next part, we will go up to Peterhead, kick off on some new research, start looking for new whaling areas, and start to build the maritime empire that will be, well, a whaling empire. So until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.